How many of us do that? Here come another sickness. Oh, here come another virus. Oh, here come another sickness. Oh, that's all you doing is murmuring. Stop murmuring. They can folk gonna bring sickness and disease on this earth. This is their job. This is how they make money. They make money to treat you, not heal you. Period. Understand that. So we got to have God to help us do that. Go ahead, brother.
Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
Christ will make us strong. When I'm weak, I'm strong. Why? Because I got my faith in God instead of me. Instead of the medicine. Instead of my thorn. Whatever I'm lusting for, I ain't going to let that have power over me. I'm going to go to my dad and ask him to help me. My heavenly Father, help me through this temptation and lust. Because some people are drowning right now today. You know how they drown? They in that cell phone. They in that TV. They friends. They drown them with all this temptation and lust keep coming to you. Man, you know that girl that she like you, man. I don't care, stop telling me that. Man, you know that dude over there like, I don't care, stop telling her that. But people get drowned in there and they start thinking they more than what they are. And you tip your mind over there and get shot up by Satan. You finished with that?
One more.
Go ahead.
Verse 11, I am become a fool in glory. You have compelled me, for I ought to have been commended of you, for in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostles, though I be nothing.
Woo! Now if he said that, what you think about us? He the chiefest apostles, he ain't nothing. Boo ain't nothing, Elijah ain't nothing, all our teachers ain't nothing in this area. They're just like me and you, but we respect each other. And this is the thing people don't understand. Paul was saying, look, man, I got these thorns too. I got temptation. I got lust. And God sent Satan to buffet me, to hit me, and make sure I don't get too high. You visual that? Yes, sir. Now let's look at some examples here how he buffeted you. Let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 27. Temptations and lust. We just seeing some examples. That we said, go and get the examples, man. They want you to stay in the New Testament. We ain't learned enough of that New Testament. Brother, Matthew, Luke, and John pretty much say the same thing. Same thing. Now, I'm not discrediting them, but we got to do some examples. Then we go to Matthew, Luke, and John. 1 Chronicles chapter 27. Let's look at what happened to King David. And how Satan came up on him because of what Israel was doing. 1 Chronicles chapter 27, we'll start with verse 1. This is the time when God told Israel not to number Israel. Don't number Israel. 1 Chronicles chapter 27 and verse 1. Let's see the cause and effect with that. Go ahead.
Now the children of Israel after their number, to wit, the chief fathers and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in any matter of the courses, which came in and went out month by month, throughout all the months of the year, of every course were 20 and 4,000.
So they started to number Israel. And God told them not to do that. He said, Israel shall be like the stars of the heavens. Jump down to verse 23. Let me show you something here. These are all the people that they started numbering, but David, seeing that he was doing wrong, he stopped. Verse 23, go ahead.
But David took not the number of them from 20 years old and under, because the Lord had said he would increase Israel like to the stars of the heavens.
So he stopped numbering them. He's like, man, going to be like the stars of the heavens. But how can you number the stars of the heavens? Go ahead.
24, Joab, the son of Zeruiah, began to number, but he finished not, because there fell wrath for it against Israel. Neither was the number put in the account of the Chronicles of King David.
See, Joab and Zeruiah, he began to number, but he finished not. Because he knew he was supposed to be numbered. They didn't finish. Let's see what happened. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 24. Let's see what God does. Again with this tempting. 2 Samuel chapter 24. When this temptation and this lust rise up, you got to know how to handle it. I got to know how to handle it. Satan is the great tempter. He's going to find out something. It could be something small as this, counting Israel. How we offend Jesus, how we offend our God. Just count. He said, don't count. 2 Samuel chapter 24, we're going to start with verse 1. First Samuel. Funny. Go ahead, brother.
And again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah.
Wait a minute. The God is angry against Israel? Who tells him to go number? God said go number. Go ahead.
For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, go now through all the tribes of Israel from Dan, even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people.
Jump down to verse 4. We don't read it all. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel.
So they started numbering Israel. Because what? Israel was sinning. See, God, you got to understand how he do things, how he punishes stuff. He'll have Satan go tempt you, he'll have you doing something you ain't supposed to be doing just to kill some more people that's sinning. If you can catch that, it's kind of hard to figure him out, but we're going through the scripture to understand a little bit about this temptation. Jump down to verse 9. Verse 9. Go ahead.
And Joab gave up the sum of the number of the people unto the king. And there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men that drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men.
So he gave the count. Go ahead. Listen to what David said.
And David's heart smote him after that he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly in that I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly.
See, Satan came to him, and he numbered Israel. He was tempted to do something that God told him not to do. Now let's go and understand the whole thing in a little clearer turn for here. Let's clear it up. Let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 21. It's another testament of 2 Samuel. We're just dealing with temptation. Temptation and lust. 1 Chronicles chapter 21. Let's read a little clearer right here so you understand who tempted who. 1 Chronicles chapter 21, we'll start with verse 1. Go ahead.
And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
Wait a minute, who did?
Satan.
Satan stood up. God used Satan so he can punish Israel because they was tempting him. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, go number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring the number of them to me that I may know it.
Now Joab had a problem with this because Joab understood you don't supposed to number Israel. Go ahead.
And Joab answered, the Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But my lord the king, are they not all my lord's servants? Why then doth my Lord require this thing? Why would he be a cause of trespass to Israel?
He's like, why you doing this thing? Why you doing this thing? God have a way of working it out. He used whoever he wants to use to punish people for sin. So he used David at this time. Satan went to buffer him. Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the king's words prevailed against Joab. Wherefore Joab departed and went throughout all Israel and came to Jerusalem.
So he went and did it. He went and counted. Go ahead.
And Joab gave the sum of the number of the people unto David. And all they of Israel were 1,000,000 and 100,000 men that drew sword. And Judah was 460,010 men that drew swords.
So he counted. Go ahead.
But Levi and Benjamin counted he not among them, for the king's word was abominable to Joab.
Go ahead.
And God was displeased with this thing. Therefore he smote Israel.
He was displeased with this thing. He smote Israel. Why? Because he tempted God. This is all about God. This is all about Jesus right here. And he have a way of punishing people through temptation and lust. If you can catch it, go ahead.
Verse 8, and David said unto God, I have sinned greatly because I have done this thing. But now I beseech thee, do away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly.
See, David recognized his faults and what he was doing. He followed what Satan told him to do. Well, the first thing he said, Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David. He listened to him. He listened to Satan, provoked David to count. Something small is counting. That's what I want you to get to understand. I don't know what tempts you. I don't know what it is. David probably won't know the name of Israel. God didn't want him to know it. Go ahead.
Verse 9, and the Lord spake unto Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and tell David, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee.
Now he's going to offer 3 choices here for his sin. Let's hear him. Go ahead.
So Gad came to David and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Choose thee either 3 years famine, or 3 months to be destroyed by thy foes, before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtaketh thee.
He said either you get 3 years of famine, meaning not having food, or 3 years of being destroyed by your foes or your enemies. These are the choices for Nimrod in Israel. Go ahead.
Or else 3 days the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coast of Israel. Now therefore advise thyself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me.
God gave him a choice now for what he did. I want you to choose your punishment. Go cut your switch down. How your mama used to say, go get me a switch. This is the switch for letting temptation to count Israel. Go ahead.
13, and David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let me fall now into the hand of the Lord, for very great are his mercies, but let me not fall into the hand of man.
He said, man, I want to fall in the hands of the Lord. I don't want to fall in the hands of man. Right. This is how God did it. He took 3 days of pestilence. But this is how he did it. Go ahead.
14, so the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel, and there fell of Israel 70,000 men.
Woo! Said pestilence. What that sound like? COVID. What that sound like? Omicron. What that sound like? It's still going on today. Because people are murmuring and complaining. And that sword from that angel going out, cutting them down. It ain't going to stop. Why? Because you're running your mouth. Because you're tempting the Lord. You complaining. Let's see how you done it. Go ahead.
15, and God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And as he was destroying, the Lord beheld, and he repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed it, It is enough. Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
That joke was one angel killed 70 people, 70,000 people. One angel. He ain't finished. Go ahead.
And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and the heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand, stretched out over
He
him.
had a drawn sword in his hand. One angel went through that, shoot. Hit him with that coronavirus. Hit him with that leprosy. Whatever it is, he hit him with it to kill him. The same stuff going on today, y'all. Go check the count of viruses, how people die. Who you think causing that? He said, I heal, I kill, I make alive. This one, who do this? God do it. Go ahead.
Top of 16. And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord stand between the earth and the heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders of Israel, who were clothed in sackcloth, fell upon their faces.
This is what we got to understand right here. Fall upon your face. Pray to God. Don't go to the doctor so-and-so, hey, what I need to take? What I need to take? Go to God first. I'm not saying you don't use the doctors. I'm not saying that. But go to God first. Have your faith in him. You can take all the medicine you want. You see all the people on ventilators and everything, and they still die. Still die. You feel so scary, man. But God put the pestilence through it. You can't stop it, and no man can stop it. Go ahead.
17. And David said unto God, Is it not I that commanded the people to be numbered?
David asked him, question, I don't want to did this. Why you don't take it out on me? Go ahead.
Even I it is that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, O Lord my God, be on me and on my father's house, but not on thy people, that they should be plagued.
See, David, you don't see all. God was angry with Israel because of that mouth. David, you can't see everything I can see. I'm doing this because of what they were doing, sinning. Go ahead.
Then the angel of the Lord commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
You want him to set up an offering so he can offer up something to the Lord so he can stop this pestilence. Go ahead.
And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of the Lord. And Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat.
Boy, they saw the angel. They went running. Him and whoa, 4 heads, 6 wings, calf's feet, eyes all over the wing. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. That one angel killed 70,000 people because of what? These people fell in their temptation. David fell in his temptation. He went and did some sinful stuff that God told him not to do. Jump down to verse 22. You feel that? Verse 20?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 22. Go ahead.
Then David said to Ornan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto the Lord. Thou shalt grant it to me for the full price, that the plague may be stayed from the people.
You're like, man, grant me the full, I'm going to pay the full price to get this altar up. All of my money, go ahead.
And Ornan said unto David, take it to thee, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give thee the oxen also for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for the meat offering. I give it all.
Yeah, David, he said, I'm going to give it all, because I want this to stop.
Right.
He thinking that he caused it. He thinking that he caused it. But God had a way of punishing people. He would use anybody. He said, Nebuchadnezzar is what?
My servant.
My servant. And Nebuchadnezzar holy? No, he wasn't holy. He used everybody to carry out what he needs to carry out. To punish this temptation, to punish this lust. We're just dealing with both of them. Go ahead.
24. And King David said to Ornan, nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price, for I will not take that which is thine for the Lord, nor offer burnt offerings without cost.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight.
Pay good money for that.
Good money, yep.
Good money. Go ahead.
And David built there an altar unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon the Lord. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of burnt offering.
So God answered him by the fire coming down and burning the offering up. Go ahead.
And the Lord commanded the angel, and he put up his sword again into the sheath thereof.
Who controlling this?
The Lord.
The Lord commanded his angel to do what?
Put up
the sword. Stop tapping and cutting them with that pestilence or that sickness that killer. Stop doing that now. He had to show us some action. And we had to show him some action. Faith without works is dead. Go ahead.
28. At that time, when David saw that the Lord had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, then he sacrificed there.
Jump down to verse 30. Go ahead.
But David could not go before it to inquire of God, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Lord.
David still remember that angel with that sword. He was afraid. Hey, I respect him on that.
Yes, sir.
I respect him. Just want to show you some examples of how this stuff works. You think you know until you read the book. Like, oh, it seems like God did that. No, Satan did that. But he controlling the whole thing. Figure it out. God allowed him because he was pissed off with Israel. Mad with him. Then he said the anger killing against Israel, he was mad with him. So he had to punish them through this pestilence. Because of all this murmuring and complaining. This tempting him. He don't like it. He doesn't. Let's go to Luke chapter 22. Let's see another example. How Satan can get in you. I think it's a game. I ain't saying God like God, but I want to know how this thing hit. And these are men of God, who's supposed to be doing it right. A lot of people sit on the sideline like they got it covered. Man, you ain't got nothing covered. Nothing. Don't think you're too old or too young. You're going to have to go through this. You got to make sure you're doing right. That's why I'm reading these examples, so you won't get comfortable. Gut punching. Me too. Now let's look at another example of this temptation and this lust for something, how it leads. I saw that, y'all. Go ahead, verse 1. Luke chapter 22 and 1. Go ahead.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover.
So we got the Passover going down. Go ahead.
And the chief priests and scribes saw how they might kill him, for they feared the people.
So they finna see how they can kill Jesus. But one thing about it, Satan got to have a host. And look at who his host is. Go ahead.
Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12.
He was the 12. This is the disciple. He entered in him. How he entered? He got in his mind. He found out what he want. He found out what he was lusting for. Let's see what he was lusting for. Go ahead.
And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and the captains, how he might betray him unto them.
Like, man, y'all want Jesus? How y'all gonna do this? How y'all want me to do this? I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna show you how to get the ball rolling. Go ahead.
And they were glad and covenanted to give him money.
Oh, this is how we gonna get the ball rolling? Money. Lusting after money. To kill the Lord and Savior, he didn't know what he was doing. Satan will control his mind. We got to make sure that we don't let him in with his temptation, his lust. He tempted him with this money. He lusted out. He was stealing out the money bag. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude.
You know how some people, ooh, that's a great opportunity. Is it? Is it? It ain't no great opportunity, man, when you sin it. I don't care who it is. I don't care whether if it's sin involved, it's not no great opportunity. To kill somebody, to hurt somebody, to steal from somebody, just for money? Nah, ain't no great opportunity. Temptation got it in his mind. Satan got it in his mind. And he ruined him. Let's see how he ruined him. Let's go to Matthew chapter 27. These are men of God, man, who walk around with Jesus. You think, oh, you a preacher? You keep the Sabbath like you hands on? No, you hands on. He want to get you and me. He want to. Let's see what lust and temptation by Satan led Judas to do. Led him to do. The man of God ain't off limit. Matthew chapter 27, verse 1. Go ahead.
When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death.
They took counsel, but they had to have somebody to help them though. You always have a snitch around you. Remember that. Always a snitch around you. And a snitch can be somebody who knows you very well. Be careful. And don't be surprised when they snitch on you. Don't be surprised because this is the greatest snitch. He was the 12 disciple. He was the 12 disciple, Judas. Go ahead.
And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders.
You see how Satan mess with you? You think you're getting something good, then you realize it ain't good. Because he lusted after money. He got tempted by who? Satan. He got in his head. He found out what he liked. Just like many of us, Satan know what we like. And that temptation will be right there. It's up to you to walk through the door. It's only for you to close the door. It's a chance and a choice. It's up to you to choose, not to choose. Chance and a choice now. Remember that. Everybody got a choice. Everybody got a chance. But who gonna make the right choice and have the best chance? His book got the best chance of getting out of that. Go ahead.
Verse 4, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, what is it? What is that to us? See thou to that.
What that us? We already made the plan up. We know that. That's why we got you, snitch. To deliver us, Jesus. That's why we got you. That's why I'm really careful about letting people in. I'm really careful because I got burnt too many times because of that. Y'all think I'm kind of all set? This is why I read the scripture and understand. It's nothing against y'all. Because I know this beast inside of me. I know it. You cross it too many times, something gonna happen. Go ahead.
Verse 5, and he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself.
Committed suicide. When he hung himself, all about some money. Temptation of money. That lust led him to hang him himself. That temptation. All started with who? Satan. He found out what he wanted. You finished with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Ain't no games out here. Find something else safe to play with. Don't play with your book. You got people out here who really think they know. Really think they know. Oh, I can come in at a certain time. I know when it's going to happen. But who's to say God won't send Satan in your mind to stop you from coming in? Just like he did Judas here. Just like he did King David. Who's to say? Don't play with it. We're dealing with this temptation and lust. And Satan will find it out. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. Go ahead.
This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come.
We here now. We here right now. This is what's going down in our generation. Go ahead.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy.
This is what men are doing. And women too. Unholy, boasters, proud, disobedient to their parents, unthankful. You can do stuff for people, they look at you like, you should have did it for me anyway. It's me now. No, it's me. I don't need to tell you thank you. That's your job. That's your job. You do that. And you see people sit and do that all the time. Then you give them some money, that's all you got? What? I ain't gonna never forget that time when I was in the shop. Crazy story. The homeless man came in and asked me for some money to get a chicken bar. He said he had $1 and he said I need $1.32 to actually get the chicken bar. So I just gave him $1 because I was doing something. He was standing there. He said, hold up, brother. I asked you for $1.32. I need $1.32 now. I don't need $1. He was not. I started to snatch my money away from him. I said, you should have been thankful. But he was like, hey, I need $1.32. Wow, laughing. Boy, he wasn't thankful for the $1. But anyway, go ahead.
Verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Without natural affection, all this homosexuality going on. It ain't natural for a man to like a man. It ain't natural for a woman to like a woman. It ain't natural, that's unnatural. These jokers like, they show more love to the same sex than the opposite. And look at you like something wrong with you. Just crazy, but anyway, go ahead.
Verse 4, they're traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
Ooh, traitors. There go that snitch. There go that snitch now. Traitors. Don't be surprised they snitch on you now. Because of that temptation and lust. They lusting for the word. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. All what I want. This is my life. I'm gonna live it how I want to live it. Okay. You better live it the way